Get ready, Friar Faithful. This is the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Jackson swings, hits it in the air, deep to right field. He has done it again. Unbelievable.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today the Padres take on the St. Louis Cardinals in the final game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Cardinals, right-hander Andre Pallante, and for the Padres, right-hander Dylan Cease. Hi again, everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 1:10. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from the newest Padre left-hander, Nestor Cortes. We'll hear from new Padre left-hander, JP Sears. We'll get the latest on Joe Musgrove, and we'll hear from today's starting pitcher, Dylan Cease. But before we get to all that, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971, with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres enter today 61-50. They enter the day sitting in the National League's final wildcard spot, 3 games behind the LA Dodgers for first place in the National League West. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are 56-56. They're now 5.5 games back of a wildcard spot after selling off at the trade deadline. Well, the Padres entered last night winners of 6 in a row. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
The Padres had things rolling early, both on the mound and at the plate. It was Manny Machado in the first.
Machado with a rise dancing at second. And the pitch bumped in the air down the left field line. Burleson over. He looks, and it bangs off the wall. Arise will come in to score. Manny going to try for 2. Here's the throw and the tag. He is out. But the Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first inning.
Padres still led 1-0 going bottom 2. A runner on base for one of the new faces in the Padres lineup, Ramon Laureano.
And Laureano slices it the other way. That's a fair ball up the right field line, headed towards the corner. Xander speeding towards third base. He's going to be waved by Tim Leeper. Here's Donovan's relay to the dish. It is not in time. Ramon Laureano's first hit as a Padre scores Bogarts from first, and the Padres lead it 2-0.
Later in the inning, another new face, Freddie Fermin. He drove in a run with an RBI ground out. It was 3-0. Let's go bottom 3. Jackson Merrill dug in.
Many ducks on the pond for Jackson Merrill. 1-2 hit hard on a line to deep center field. Scott's going back. He is at the wall. This one gonna go. And another run batted in for Jackson Merrill. His 8th home run of the season. Padres have scored in all 3 innings to begin the night, and they lead the Cardinals 4-0.
So the Padres had a 4-0 lead as Randy Vasquez took the mound in the top of the 4th inning. Cardinals putting runners on first and third with 1 out. Nolan Gorman hit an RBI single. That made it 4-1. There were still 2 on base for Pedro Pajes.
First and second, the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, hit in the air deep down the left field line. Way back and gone. Second balcony, Western Metal for Pedro Pajes. That is a game-tying 3-run homer. It is 4-4 in the 4th.
Vasquez gave up 4 runs in the 4th inning. We were still tied at 4 going to the top of the 5th inning. Vasquez allowed a leadoff single. Jeremiah Estrada came in. He got 2 outs, but then it was Mason Wynn.
1-0. Wynn in the air down the left field line. That's trouble, and a fair ball going to go to the corner. Herrera scores easily. Burleson is being waved. Relay from Machado is in time, but Fermin couldn't squeeze it, and he's safe. A 2-run double for Mason Wynn, and for the first time tonight, the Cardinals lead. It's 6-4.
Cardinals would score 2 more in the 9th inning. Padres got 1 back, but it was not enough. Final score yesterday, the Cardinals 8 and the Padres 5. Cardinals evening up this 3-game series at a game apiece. It snapped the Padres' 6-game win streak, and it sets up the rubber game of this 3-game series here today with first pitch coming up at 1:10. Let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Tony Gwynn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Tony, let's start with the guy on the mound today for the Padres, right-hander Dylan Cease. Obviously, there was some uncertainty heading towards the trade deadline whether Cease would be moved. It turns out he doesn't go anywhere. He will be with the Padres the remainder of the season. It's no secret, Tony, it's been an up-and-down year for Dylan Cease. To you, now that the dust is settled after the trade deadline, what do you want to see from Dylan Cease here in the final couple of months of this regular season?
I think the same thing that we've all wanted to see, all season long, and I think it's just been very inconsistent for Dylan. I don't think any of us can say with certainty what has affected him this year. If indeed it was the possibility of getting moved, well, now that's behind him. He no longer has to worry about that anymore. I have a sneaky suspicion that's not what it's been. I think it's, I don't know what it exactly is, but we do know the 4th and 5th inning have plagued him pretty much all season long. And if he can figure that part out, I think he can get back to pitch. The stuff is still there. I think the strikeouts indicate that the stuff is still there. He's still getting a ton of swing and misses. It's just every so now and then, or not every so now and then, I'd say more often than that, that 4th, 5th inning, for whatever reason, become an issue. And that's something he hasn't really quite been able to kind of figure out all season long.
Yeah, a lot of the expected numbers for Dylan really all year have been better than the actual numbers, so you do hope that kind of catches up with one another. We'll see how Dylan Cease does today against this Cardinals lineup. Tony, Luis Arraez all of a sudden has picked up so much steam. He's in the midst of a 15-game hitting streak. He's hitting over 400 in that span. It should be no surprise considering the type of hitter he is. But what stood out to you about this most recent run for Luis Arraez?
He's not missing pitches. There'll be times where he hit a ball hard, he get a knock, and then he hit 3 balls in the air that he was just coming off of. He's no longer doing that. Everything seems to be on the line. And you know how I know that he's locked in is, I don't know if up until maybe the last 3 weeks, I know we see the stats you take from him, but we've seen stats you take to get to 2 strikes a bunch of times here recently where he wasn't concerned with strike 2. And that just tells me that he's got the ultimate confidence right now. He's on a heater. I mean, even when defenses right now are trying to play him shallow, he's still able to hit a line drive and drop it in front. And so right now, listen, the way the top of the lineup is working right now, it makes the Padres a very, very dangerous team offensively.
One more note on the offense, and one guy in particular, Tony Jackson Merrill, he said to me the other day that he is being short to the ball. Is that what you're seeing for Jackson? Because the results as of late have been obviously really good.
Short as a ball, into the ball as in a good thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. No doubt about it. I think that along with his pitch selection has gotten better, not chasing as much as he was. And he is being short. There were so many times during that run he was missing fastballs like right down the middle. And you could almost see it in his face on the times that he's punched out. Like, what is going on? Like, how am I missing that? And I think when he explains that he's being short to it, the way the best explained it, when your hands get to the firing position, the quickest way to a destination is in a straight line. And so if you could take your hands straight to where that ball is coming, you got a chance to get the barrel in the zone and keep it in the zone a long time, and that's what we've seen from Jackson.
Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. Tony, I want to finish up just with a look at the Cardinals. Obviously, this is a team still within some level of striking distance of a wild card spot. They sold off all those bullpen pieces at the trade deadline. It's such an interesting time right now for this Cardinals team. Tony, what's your take on who the Cardinals are right now? We talked about it in St. Louis a little bit, but you look at it, I don't know that it's a super clean brand of baseball. We've seen them play against the Padres. Your take on the Cardinals' final time these two teams will meet, at least in the regular season?
I don't think they know who they are yet. I think that's part of what Ollie Marmol's job is right now, is to kind of figure out who they are. They got some good young pieces. I like Victor Scott II. I think he's going to be a terrific player. He's starting to figure out. He's got to hit the ball on the line. Tremendous defender. You got to love Mason Wynn. You see him making strides. I like Alec Burleson. It seems like Herrera is another good piece. Obviously, Donovan is an all-star. So you have a good young nucleus. And I didn't even mention Jordan Walker, who I still think is going to make his presence felt at some point. I think it just revolves around the pitching. They got the young guys. I think if they continue to develop, they're going to be a team to deal with in the Central. But right now, they're trying to figure out the bullpen, the starters. Do they have enough of them, and where they could add to maybe supplement that in 2026. But I like their core. I like their young nucleus that they have. It's just a matter of, can they keep progressing at the rate that they have?
Tony, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 1 p.m. as the Padres go for a series win. Thanks so much.
No problem, Zach.
That was Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network. First pitch is coming up at 1:10. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Plus, a little bit later, we hear from a variety of new Padres, including Nestor Cortes on his first day inside the Padres clubhouse. We also hear from Joe Musgrove, Dylan Cease. We'll also squeeze in a little audio from JP Sears if we have time. Much more to do on our pregame coverage on this Sunday here at Petco Park. Our pregame coverage continues after this. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the lofts here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch is coming up at 1:10 between the Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals, the rubber game of this three-game series. Right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres today. Right-hander Andre Palante on the mound for St. Louis. We'll hear from a couple of different Padres coming up, including newest left-hander Nestor Cortes, who was activated earlier today. The Padres did make a move earlier today, activating Cortes off the 60-day IL. Remember, he had been on the IL for a long time as a member of the Brewers, and the corresponding move, not really a surprise, but I guess a little bit unfortunate considering this guy's been pretty good this year. Randy Vasquez optioned to AAA El Paso to make room for Nestor Cortes on the Padres active roster. Let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt before today's game.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Well, we alluded to this with Tony Gwynn Jr. a little bit earlier, but of all the moves the Padres made at the trade deadline, one of the biggest headlines out of the deadline was the name they didn't move, all the rumors surrounding Dylan Cease, Robert Suarez as well. And today, Dylan Cease makes his first start after the deadline in what's been a pretty up-and-down campaign so far for Dylan Cease. Here was Mike Shildt earlier this week on keeping Dylan Cease and Robert Suarez.
Yeah, it felt great. Listen, those guys have helped us a ton. Robert's been a two-time All-Star and closed games for us, and I think that needs to be remembered. He's pitched very well and competed very well, and Cease has helped us get to the playoffs last year and is clearly a talent.
And he says there's nothing that AJ can do anymore that will shock him at the deadline. Is there anything that would shock you?
No, ma'am. No. It'd shock me if he didn't do something. That's what would shock me.
Like, what do you think? What's the message that was sent to every single player, every person in that clubhouse when Keller makes the moves that you guys did yesterday?
Yeah, this club's all in. Our team's all in before today, and our team's all in even more after the trade deadline. This is a group that's very consistent with how they operate and how we think and how we perform and compete and prepare. And it just nothing was going to change. Just now we just got more pieces of the puzzle.
Like, what are the specifics of incorporating 6 or 7 new guys in the clubhouse in the middle of the season? How do you go about that?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question because the biggest thing is not necessarily the baseball. It's the baseball is it's specific to and I'm going to need to get going. I've got a job to do after this, but making sure everybody understands how we just operate within the baseball. But it's more about like the families and, just getting integrated with just getting comfortable in our environment and our players welcome these guys. And, but yeah, it's more than just the baseball. It's what's new, new city, new everything, manager, pitching coach, hitting coach, clubhouse guys, teammates. And just, so I think the most important part is making sure that the families and players feel like the transition is as smooth as possible and just everybody feels communicated with, like the Palms question. Roles are going to change a little bit for certain guys and communicating with the players that we currently have and the players we have brought in about what that looks like. But the biggest takeaway is making sure everybody's fluid to being able to coexist and do what's best for the Padres.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier this week here at Petco Park. We'll hear more from Mike on our post-game coverage coming up later on today. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 1:10, series finale and rubber game of this 3-game set between the Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, Dylan Cease spoke inside the Padres clubhouse earlier this week following the trade deadline. Again, all those rumors surrounding Cease on if he would be traded, if he would be staying. It turns out he is still a San Diego Padre after the deadline. Here was Dylan inside the clubhouse earlier this week.
Like, now that you are here and the deadline has passed and you're
part of this going forward? Like, how excited are you, and what is your level of kind of anticipation for what the rest of the season has?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, we made a lot of obviously a lot of moves. We got a stacked team now, so I'm grateful I get to be a part of it.
You went about normal. You seem like the kind of guy who could make it normal. But was it in any way surreal, not knowing? Or
I know. I just feel like it's part of the business. Like I wasn't. That wasn't really a negative experience by any means. It was kind of just like, we'll see what happens, But I love being in San Diego, and I want to be a part of something special here.
You've been through this a couple times. Will you insist upon a no trade clause in your contract?
I don't know. I haven't even thought about that. It's maybe I'm used to it now. It's exciting, so we'll keep it going every year.
Of course, Dylan, a free agent at the end of the year. He makes his first start after the trade deadline here today on the mound against the St. Louis Cardinals. When we come back, we'll take you through some headlines from around the major leagues. Plus, we hear from new Padres left-hander Nestor Cortes. We'll also hear from Joe Musgrove, get the latest on Joe after he threw his first real intense bullpen as he works his way back from Tommy John surgery. Much more to do. First pitch coming up at 1:10 right here on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 1:10 between the Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals. Padres going for a series win. Military Sunday on the Padres Radio Network is presented by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care no-cost maintenance standard, so you get peace of mind standard. Well, no injuries really relating to this series to the Padres, for the Padres to update you on. However, we have two major updates for you as far as Padres pitchers. Let's get to them.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Let's begin with the first right-hander. Michael King set to make a rehab outing today with AAA El Paso. That game will be against the Round Rock Express, the Rangers AAA team, in Round Rock later this afternoon. So Michael King making a major step in his return from that nerve issue. He is going to make his first formal rehab start today with AAA El Paso. As far as the Cardinals, Nolan Arenado was placed on the IL on Friday with a shoulder strain. Nolan Gorman activated on Friday. He's played the first 2 games of this series, and Gorman actually not in the lineup today for St. Louis. So a couple of games for Gorman, and he gets the day off on this Sunday. Another note, and obviously this is still a ways away, but Joe Musgrove threw his first formal bullpen session yesterday here at Petco Park. He threw all fastballs, and Joe Musgrove spoke inside the clubhouse earlier today. Here was Joe after yesterday's bullpen as he works his way back from Tommy John.
Once we're through the initial planned out throwing, now it's kind of us figuring out what the routine is and the intensity on certain days. So
Twice a week, though, still?
Tuesday, Saturdays off the mound, and then, regular catch play between, just kind of like as if I was in season. The Tuesday pin will be like a between start pin, and then Saturdays will kind of replicate a game. So I'll kind of start to normalize the 5-day routine over the next couple of weeks here. So,
and back in 2 weeks or what? So,
I feel pretty close. Yeah, I got a long ways to go. A lot of intensity to add to it, which obviously is going to bring more soreness and maybe bring some issues up. But up to this point, it's been really good. I've had bad days here and there, but nothing that's stuck around for too long, nothing that's lingered and prohibited us from throwing. So I'm glad that through the bad days, I've been able to still get out and throw and kind of maintain progress. So.
For someone who loves what they do as much as you do, to actually get off the mound,
yeah.
What did that feel like yesterday?
Feel good, man. I had some of the guys out there watching. It feels good for me to be able to show them that I've been working, and that I'm getting closer and getting ready. And again, I know that there's a lot of things that can happen between now and the playoffs that could derail the plan. But with how I felt yesterday, I think I'm optimistic about a chance to pitch this year. So, or at least a chance to be ready to pitch, whether they pitch me or not.
Is there many specifics mapping out what that in relief, an inning?
I got it all.
There are specific but not necessarily the plan, but that goal that you have of pitching.
Yeah, I mean, I stay in contact with AJ about how I'm feeling, and he's always been the one to not force me into throwing, but to remind me that these protocols and the time frame is kind of relative to who's going through it, and that it doesn't mean just because the doctor says 12 to 16 months doesn't mean it has to be that, so. We've been very diligent about staying on program and, doing what the doc says up to this point. Now that we're into bullpens and I'm starting to throw more regularly, there's a little more freedom in there. So, even Meister himself told me that, be very careful on the front end, on the back end. That's kind of where you can make up a little bit of ground. So the next couple of weeks is just going to be listening to the body and, allowing myself to do what I feel comfortable with. So
how antsy are you right now?
More so than I was a couple months ago. I think especially with the additions of the new guys, I want to be part of this really bad. And, I feel like we have a good chance to go deep into this thing and win it all. And if we get to that point, I want to be able to say that I contributed in some fashion, whether it's one out or an inning or a start, whatever it is, I would love to get out there and play. So a little antsy with that, but again, trying to, rein myself in and stay to the process and keep progressing, how I know I need to.
That was Joe Musgrove following that first formal bullpen session yesterday as he worked his way back from Tommy John. Always good to hear from Joe, and we'll continue to give you updates on Joe Musgrove, and I'm sure hear from Joe Musgrove as he continues his rehab process. First pitch coming up at 1:10 between the Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals, rubber game of this 3-game series. We do have an update on the Cardinals lineup today. Alec Burleson, who is scheduled to play second base and lead off today, he has been scratched from the Cardinals lineup. So we told you that Nolan Gorman was not in the lineup. Well, he actually is now in the lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals, and their lineup looks like this, just so you know. Gwynn leading off the shortstop, then Ivan Herrera, the left fielder. Wait, hold on here a second. I'm sorry, not, I think I said Burleson scratched. I meant Brendan Donovan was scratched. If I didn't say that, I meant Brendan Donovan scratched from the Cardinals lineup. He was leading off and playing second base. So the lineup now for the Cardinals: Wynn, Herrera, Burleson, Contreras, Gorman, Walker, Pozo, Sajaci, Scott, and Palante on the mound. Quick look at the Padres lineup today. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off. Luis Ariz, the DH, batting second. Manny Machado at third base, batting third. Jackson Merrill in center, batting cleanup. Xander Bogaerts, the shortstop, batting fifth. Ryan O'Hearn at first base, batting sixth. Ramon Laureano, the left fielder, batting seventh. Jake Cronenworth at second base, batting eighth. And Freddie Fermin doing the catching for a second straight day and batting ninth with right-hander Dylan Cease on the hill. Let's give you our keys to this series finale.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number one, an awesome Ariz. Luis Ariz had 2 more hits last night, extending his hitting streak to a career best 15 games. He's batting .417 in that span. He's the first Padres left-handed hitter with a 15-game hit streak since Will Venable did it in 2013. Key number 2, a mashing Merrill. Jackson Merrill homered last night for the first time in 15 games. He's had 2 hits in each game of this series, batting .300 in his past 12 games. He also has 15 RBIs in his last 15 games. So Merrill's been a big-time run producer as of late. Key number 3, more Manny Machado in the midst of a 10-game hitting streak. He's batting .476 in that span with 6 extra base hits and 12 RBIs. And key number 4, win against Wynn, especially with Mason Wynn in the leadoff spot after Brendan Donovan was scratched. Wynn put the Cards ahead for good with a 2-run double in the 5th inning last night. Wynn has a hit in 12 of his last 14 games, batting .385 in that span with 5 doubles and 9 RBIs. And that's a look at our keys to today's game. We'll hear from new Padres left-hander Nestor Cortes coming up in a little bit. First, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a number of games going on right now. The Braves ahead of the Reds 4-2. I should say, excuse me. Braves just beat the Reds 4-2. That game final in Bristol, Tennessee. That game was suspended yesterday due to rain at Bristol Motor Speedway. They picked it up today, and the Braves won it 4-2. Other finals already today. Dodgers beat the Rays 3-0 in Tampa Bay, so the Padres will need a win today to maintain a 3-game deficit in the NL West standings. Red Sox beat the Astros 6-1 at Fenway. Games going on right now. Brewers ahead of the Nationals 5-1 in D.C. in the 7th inning. Blue Jays 2, Royals 1 in Toronto in the 8th inning. Twins 4, Guardians 2 in Cleveland in the 8th inning. Marlins leading the Yankees 6-3 in the 7th inning. Miami looking to sweep that series from New York. Giants lead the Mets 7-2 in New York in the 7th inning. Orioles and the Cubs tied at 2 in Chicago in the 5th. Pirates and the Rockies are in Colorado today. 2nd inning there. Pirates leading 5-0. Games coming up. Diamondbacks at the A's in Sacramento at 1:05. White Sox and Anaheim at 1:07. Rangers and the Mariners in Seattle at 1:10. Tigers and the Phillies at 4 p.m. in Philadelphia. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday. When we come back, we'll hear from Nestor Cortes. We'll also walk you through a couple more headlines from around the major leagues. And we take a deeper look at today's starting pitching matchup between Dylan Cease and Andre Palante. First pitch coming up at 1:10 right here on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 1:10, series finale between the Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals. Everybody having a good time here inside the loft, enjoying their mixed drinks and their beers, all the great food you have to enjoy here at Petco Park. Crowd filing in, should be a fun one as the Padres wrap up this 6-game homestand, a 3-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks beginning in Phoenix tomorrow. Let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Just a couple of quick headlines for you. Brewers all-star rookie right-hander Jacob Misiorowski was placed on the IL with a left tibia contusion prior to his scheduled start against the Nationals today. Misiorowski said he anticipates missing about 2 starts, being ready to go after the 15-day IL stint. He took a line drive to the shin off the bat of Cubs hitter Seiya Suzuki on Monday. So Misiorowski going on the IL. We told you about that Braves and Reds game at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Well, Braves third baseman Austin Riley did come out of that game with what they're calling lower abdominal pain after he made a really, really great diving play in that ball game. So a couple of quick headlines for you on some injuries, both from today and from earlier this week, but obviously both affecting today's games. And as we said, Braves won that game in Bristol 4-2 against the Cincinnati Reds. Couple of notes on the Cardinals as we get ready for the final meeting, at least in the regular season, between these two teams. Cardinals would have to do, I think, a bit of work to get to the postseason. Hey, Padres got a long way to go as well, even though they sit in a playoff spot. Cardinals now looking to win consecutive games for just the second time since the start of July. The only time they've done that was when they beat the Padres in the first 2 games of that 4-game series at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And how about this? Since June 30th, the Cardinals' 9-18 record is the 3rd worst in baseball, ahead of only the Atlanta Braves and the Tampa Bay Rays. Well, Nestor Cortes, one of the many trade deadline moves for the Padres earlier this week. Padres trading Brandon Lockridge to Milwaukee. They got Cortes back. They also got minor league shortstop Jorge Quintana back. It's worth noting Nestor Cortes put together some terrific years with the New York Yankees, including a 2.44 ERA in 28 starts in 2022, an all-star season for Nestor Cortes. Cortes had been on the IL for a while, going back to April with a flexor strain. He had been rehabbing. He is healthy. He is ready to make his return. We might even see that return this coming week on the mound for the Padres. Nestor Cortes spoke inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today for the very first time.
It's been a little crazy. I was in Milwaukee, flew in last night. But as soon as I got traded, a bunch of people reached out and, made me feel like I was really welcomed here. And walking into the clubhouse today, obviously a lot of guys came up to me and said hi and presented me to all these places that we have here. So it's a maze for me now, but just happy to be here. Happy for the opportunity.
How are you feeling? The rehab looked like they were going well.
Yeah, rehab was going well. Getting better between each start because I feel like I'm recuperating better too, which that was the biggest problem. It wasn't the pitch day 1, pitch day 5. It was the in between that was hard for me, and I feel like that's gotten a lot better.
I'm surprised that San Diego was a destination for you.
I was a little surprised, even though obviously I felt like if there was a chance to get out of Milwaukee, it was going to be to a contender, and I'm just happy to be here and happy to compete. I want to get the ball every 5 days, hopefully, and be able to give the best that I can.
What do you think about the roster, the pitching staff that you are joining, and just the depth of the
yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I was joking with my friends last night from back home. It was like, all you got to do is get to the 5th inning and possibly the 4th, and then just turn it over. But yeah, no, I mean, what the team has done at deadline has been incredible, really aggressive, and like I said, just happy to be part of this team. Happy to hopefully just be a stepping stone to get to the playoffs and hopefully win it all.
You know what it's like to be part of a postseason push for this team and this division. What do you think of this opportunity?
Yeah, no, it's great. Once a team is, eyeing the postseason, and once they get in, it's all about who gets hot at the right time. And like I said, I think this team, watching it from afar for years now, always seems to be in there and be in the fight. So just happy to be here again, and I just want to do my part. I just want to pitch. I want to be able to contribute to what these guys are doing here. These guys, it's been a little bit more than half the season, and it's been great. So we just want to contribute.
The season hasn't gone like the way you wanted it with the injury, but like to be coming back now and to be able to kind of make an impact and maybe be fresh down the stretch. Do you feel like there's like still a lot left to go?
Oh yeah. The hardest part is obviously being on the sidelines, not being able to do anything as far as in a real game. But some things are just you can't control it, and being able to pitch those 4 rehab outings in the minor leagues and knowing that I'm ready to go gives me that satisfaction to push, and wanting the bar 5 days it's going to be big for me, and hopefully like I said, I just want to contribute to this team and just be part of it, and hopefully we get far enough.
Sorry, I haven't been able to look up all the cross section of who you've played with besides Manny.
Oh my gosh, there's so many people here. King, Sears, Wandy. I played with Tatis in the DR when we won the championship over there with the Estrellas. Played with Manny and the Orioles. If I see more names, I'm sure there's more people, but even staff, I ran across staff here too. So it hasn't been a super change for me. Obviously, there's a lot of you guys, a lot of guys with big names like you and stuff like that. When I saw him, I was a little impressed. Just hopefully I just fit right in seamlessly and take care of business.
That was new Padres left-hander Nestor Cortes earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. We'll see when Cortes makes his return from the IL, and he's now reinstated from the IL, but his first start off the IL and his Padres debut, maybe it'll come this coming week in Arizona or back here at home over the weekend. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 1:10 here in downtown San Diego. The sun is out right now. 1:10 p.m. here in downtown San Diego. Let's tell you what to watch for in this series finale.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in today's game. How do the Padres do when the Cardinals have runners in scoring position? Across the last 7 games, the Padres staff has held opponents to a 167 batting average with runners in scoring position. After Mason Wynn's single in the 4th inning yesterday, it snapped the Padres 0 for 15 hitless at-bats by an opponent with runners in scoring position. The Cardinals, big reason they won last night, they went 5 for 14 with runners in scoring position. And again, to really hammer the point home, Padres pitching has been great when they face guys on base. They've held opponents to the 3rd lowest batting average with runners in scoring position in the National League at 240. The 2nd lowest on base percentage, the 4th lowest OPS, 4th lowest slug. So when Padres pitching gets in trouble, typically they have a pretty good shot to find their way out of it. We'll see if the Padres can do that today with Dylan Cease on the mound, and just keep an eye on that. How do the Padres do? How does Dylan Cease do when he faces some sticky situations? If he does it all, we know with Dylan, he can be very, very dominant. Speaking of Dylan Cease, let's dive into our pitching matchup between him and right-hander Andre Palante.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres today. He pitched last Monday against the Mets. He gave up 5 runs, but also struck out 9 in 4 2/3 innings. Took a no decision in that game after the Padres won 7-6. That was the game where Elias Diaz hit a walk-off single. Cease is mired in a pretty tough stretch since mid-June. He's posted a 5.70 ERA with 9 home runs given up in his last 8 starts. Cease did not face the Cardinals last week at Busch Stadium, but they've been a bit of a problem for him in the past. He has a 7.84 ERA with 18 hits allowed in 2 career starts against St. Louis. Meanwhile, California native Andre Palante makes his first career start at Petco Park. He's made 2 relief appearances here. He grew up in Mission Viejo, less than 3 hours from here. Attended college at UC Irvine. He's made 6 career appearances against the Padres, including 2 starts. The results have been good at 2.70 ERA in 13-plus innings. He finished his July by earning his first win since mid-June. He blanked the Marlins in 7 scoreless innings, gave up just 1 hit in his last start against Miami. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup here today between Dylan Cease and Andre Palante. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. Braden Sofrenik will join you for post-game coverage after this one is over. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the ball game on this beautiful Sunday.